Today we're talking about something a little different than just cameras and lenses, but actually the gear that surrounds those things. So the everyday carry that I'm bringing on sets with me or on photo walks, photography jobs, everything like that. Everything that's in my pockets and in my bags that I feel like makes it pretty much with me every time I go out. On top of that, we are going to be doing an unboxing of a mystery box that I purchased from a company that kind of specializes in EDC, specifically knives. Hopefully you find something useful and maybe find something you can add to your own kit as well. So I think first off, I'm going to start with what is in my pocket every day. And I'm going to go into as much detail as even talking about the wallet I use, which I'm going to start with. I've gone for something by a company called Dutchman. It's a really, really simple leather design, some solid stitching around the edges, and just a simple kind of flip out. And then you keep your cards in here. You can stuff a bit of cash in the back if you need to as well. But I love this profile. I love the looks of it and the aesthetics. You can get the leather in different colors. It's all made from top grain leather, so this thing's gonna last years. They're basically indestructible, to be honest with you. I like to switch out my wallets based on what I'm doing, so if I'm traveling, I might choose to use a different wallet. But yeah, highly recommend Dutchman. Go and check them out. They make some great leather products. All right, so the next item on my list is this sort of multi-tool that I got from Peter McKinnon's Pete's Pirate Life. I've had it since it launched and it hasn't let me down yet. The thing I use on it more than anything else, to be honest, is just a simple sort of screwdriver tool, which is great for tightening up base plates on tripods, things like that. But from time to time, I will also use things like the Allen keys on it, although I do keep a set of separate Allen keys because there's just too many different sizes that you need. This has some cool features on it, like you can keep a little SD card in the pocket here. Great because if you're like me and you sometimes forget SD cards, it's good to have a little backup there. But it's just solid, durable, clips onto my belt really easily. Highly recommend it. I'm not sure if you can actually get them anymore because Pete tends to make limited edition things. They do a small run and then he stops. So, but you can get tools similar to this that do essentially the same thing. But highly recommend having a dedicated camera tool in your kit of some kind. You can get them by Small Rig, Tilta, and a bunch of other manufacturers make them. Speaking of multi-tools, this doesn't necessarily always go in my pocket. And I know a lot of people will keep things like this. This is a Gerber multi-tool. I probably will replace this at some point with like a Leatherman or something like that, although it's completely not needed. I'm big on aesthetics and usability, and I do love a good Leatherman. I do have one, which I'll talk about later, which I bought by accident many years ago, which is not the most ideal Leatherman in the world, but it's still a pretty cool tool. But you can get anything like this for relatively cheap, and it's going to serve its purpose. Having a set of pliers on hand is always good, and they obviously have blades. Other tools like screwdrivers, as well as a saw blade if you need it too. Really good to have on set. Usually though, as a camera guy, you're gonna be relying on your grip to have something like this, but if you're like me and you run solo a lot, it's good to have one in your arsenal anyways. So not always in my pocket, usually it's in my camera bag, but it is a pocketable item, so I thought I'd include it in this. And then last but not least, the thing that's in my pocket the most is some kind of blade. I will say that a lot of people don't find the need to have a blade on them if you're working in photography or videography. I have a bit of a problem with wanting to collect different blades. But to be honest, I find myself using a knife all the time on set, whether it's for opening boxes, scoring card, or bounce cards or anything like that, cutting off zip ties, cables, rope. I find myself pulling this out almost on a daily basis when I'm out shooting. So for me, I do think it's worthwhile. But if you have a multi-tool, you can obviously put the blade on that too. This is just a little bit quicker and makes for a great fidget tool also. The blade I have here is another Peter McKinnon artifact. This one was a limited edition run they did with the Civivi brand blades. And out of all the knives that I own, this has become my favorite to use. It's just super industrial looking, very heavy duty. Does what it needs to do. Another thing I will say about blades is that you do need to check with your country, region, make sure that you're not carrying anything that's illegal to carry or dangerous to carry. So that pretty much wraps up what I carry in my pockets, I guess, other than the obvious, which are my keys, which I have a ridiculously chunky set of keys. I have my car fob. I have another blade on here by a brand called WESN. This is just a tiny little envelope cutter, if you like, and a cool leather pouch. And WESN is actually the brand of the mystery box that I bought, which we're going to unbox shortly, just for a bit of fun, see what's in there. But they make some cool products, definitely worth checking out. Not a sponsor, just throwing it out there. I've used them on my keys. I keep all my keys in this little key holder. I add and subtract to it all the time. It's pretty nifty. And I do like having one of these sort of, what do you call it, steel corded expandable things on my keychain. It's great to just clip onto your belt, frees up your hands if you need to use them, quick access, and they kind of go back up. But ever since I've had this, I've loved it. I would love to find one that isn't so plasticky on the top. So if anyone knows of any brands that sell something like that they've used, drop a comment below and let me know. I definitely want to check it out. So that's the pockets covered. And now I want to talk about this little tech pouch that is made by a company called Nutzack, which is hilariously named. But they make great sort of wax canvas products. I really like this one that I purchased. I can't remember the name of this exact model, but you can check it out on their website, and I'll drop a link to all of the products below as well. But inside this, we have a kind of collection or selection of tools that I will bring. There is another knife in here because this will not be in my pocket, obviously, but in a camera bag. So this gets thrown around between different bags. I have about 1,001 of these. I don't know what the actual name for them is, but they come with like think tank bags. They're great for everything: cable management, tying things to your camera, securing things down. I use these daily and often donate them to people on set, and they love them too, so good to have. I do have a flashlight in here. This is great for night shoots if you're needing to get access to your camera bag, see what's going on. This one's a little bit over the top. You definitely don't need anything like this, but again, this is a Nightcore light that I'll link in the description. You can check it out. They make excellent flashlights. They're very heavy duty and incredibly bright. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. And in here, I mentioned I had that weird Leatherman earlier. So this is the one I was talking about. I bought this, I don't know, it's gotta be at least 10 years ago. I thought it was a really cool looking Leatherman. This is before I really knew anything about multi-tools or even needed one, to be honest with you. But it actually is a military grade Leatherman, which is why I don't use it that often or carry it around every day in my pockets. But it has all the usual tools plus some unusual tools like this, which I believe is designed to clean the barrel of a gun, not something I own or need, as well as this, which my understanding is used to punch hole in C4. Not something you're gonna find any use for on set, I would imagine. All right, the next item in here that I want to talk about is probably this guy, which I use all the time. This is a Vise grip, basically used to tighten any kind of nuts or anything like that. I find it incredibly useful. It's a lot better than a typical wrench. It's just quicker and easier to use. It doesn't kind of like shuffle around. You know, you can get the adjustable wrenches. I don't like those at all. This is so much better. You get way more leverage on it too. Great for tightening things up on your camera or anything on set that just needs to be tightened down. This is a great tool to have on you as well. So I always keep a set of those on me here. And then of course you've got basic things like a spare pen in here. I've got a Sharpie permanent marker. This is kind of like an industrial size one, which basically will go onto anything. Pretty useful to have. And then lastly in here, I just have this little level. This is not the best one, to be honest. This is the only one I could find in the tool shop that I was at. But again, if you need to get something level on a surface or cameras level, for example, this overhead camera, having a level is pretty useful. There's a couple other things here I'm not going to go over because I don't think they're essential to actually carrying on you every day. And honestly, this video could probably be an hour or two long if we went into all of the little bits and pieces that I have in my camera bag that fall outside of the realm of being a camera or a lens. The only other things I was going to mention is notepads. So I do carry around a notepad. I'm pretty terrible at journaling. I've tried and failed many times to journal to try and get the crazy shit that goes up here onto paper. And I get into a kind of flow of doing it for a little while and then life gets in the way and I stop. But notepads are good to have on set anyways, just to write down things like camera settings, what lens you were using, what f-stop you were running at, if you need to replicate something later on for the same shoot, taking notes from clients. I much prefer doing it on pen and paper than using my phone. That's just me. I also have a separate notepad here, which is kind of doubles as a journal, but also a tracker. Again, not something I've been overly great at using. At one point, I was doing it quite a bit. I really just need to get back into it. But you can see, I actually got this idea from Peter McKinnon, who did a video on how we can track things like alcohol consumption, sugar intake, water, coffee, exercise, all that good stuff. It is a good way to kind of take a look at what you've been up to and how things are going in your life outside of work. And I do think it's important to track that kind of stuff. So, but you can obviously do it through apps or whatever else, whatever floats your boat. All right, so with that out of the way, let's bring in the mystery box, which I purchased from WESN, and I think it's only appropriate to use the WESN knife that I previously purchased from the company. I call it a knife. It's really like a box, a letter opener at best. Look at this thing. I don't know if you can see that. It's so cute. There we go. All right, let me just grab the box. So the cool thing about this mystery box, and one of the reasons why I decided to purchase it, was the box itself. It comes in this kind of old school metal toolkit, which I could see myself using for lots of different things by itself. And how well you guys can see that there. It's a pretty cool looking box. Let's open this thing up and see what's inside. All right. And wrapping paper. We got some new leather cases for blades here. I'm hoping that the blades are also in the box. Let's open up this first little guy here. I love the packaging. Why does it make some really great stuff? Interesting. What is this? That's a cool looking knife. I've never seen a knife with this kind of mechanism in the back here. Pretty good. And we got this little tin box. I'm assuming that's just probably what it is. I love things like this. They're great for keeping little bits and pieces in. Camera batteries. When I say camera batteries, I'm talking about the little 35mm film camera batteries. Things like that. Matches, whatever. We got some cool stickers here. I'm a big fan of stickers. Ironically, I talked about how I don't like this style of wrench, but this is pretty cool. Throwing it on your keychain or something like that, or even on strapping it onto a camera bag. I could see that being kind of useful. Some of these things are kind of gimmicky, but it's all for the fun of it, right? All right, we'll open that later. Oh, this is great. We've got a new little leather wallet here. I'm not sure that one will replace the lost Dutchman one, but maybe I'll use this as like a travel wallet or something like that. We've got a cloth or rag here. These are actually great to keep in the camera kit, so this one will probably end up in my bag. I have another one from Pete's Pirate Life that I got when I purchased a knife from them. But these are actually really good for just like wiping down gear if it rains or something like that. Having one of these in your kit is actually great. So this is gonna end up in the camera bag, which is awesome. Got another mini knife here, by the looks of it. Oh, nice. This is actually a collaborative piece they did with a company called Clocks and Colors. A lot of the jewelry that I wear is from Clocks and Colors. I actually really wanted this piece, so I'm super pumped that it came in this kit. Another little tiny blade, but pretty useful. I'll most likely keep this in a camera bag somewhere, something like that. Let's see what we have in the last box from the pack. We've got another mini knife. I would love to have gotten maybe one bigger knife. I guess we did get this guy, which is kind of an interesting one. But still, pretty good haul, I'd say. I guess I'll share with you guys, I paid 200 US for it. And when you think that some of these knives go for well over 100, 150 bucks, some of them, it's not a bad deal, really. So another cool little mini knife. These are really great to have because I can just kind of put them anywhere. You can throw them into camera bags, put one in my truck maybe, things like that. Even just leave them around the house. I've always wanted to buy a mystery box. It's kind of like just been one of those things that I thought is a really interesting concept, to buy something without knowing what's inside of it. Although, arguably, I did kind of know what was going to be inside this one. But yeah, it was a cool little treat for myself. I'm happy I did it. I doubt it'll be the last one that I buy. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found something useful here. Think about the kind of things that you might want to take on your shoots going forward, or drop a comment below and let me know the kind of gear that you're taking on your shoots. Maybe there's something I missed that I could add to my camera bag or my everyday carry. That is it for me today, guys. So until next time, happy shooting.